Hello, I'm Margaret Turner and I'm presenting here in Adelaide for Veggie Vision, and today I have with me Wendy James Shepherd. She's an animal artist. Originally she was a landscape artist and she's transitioned to painting animals. Hello Wendy.
Hello Margaret.
What made you decide to change, to make that transition?
Well, I've decided to change because originally I was doing landscape paintings and I was making quite a nice little bit of money with that, and I was very well known for my landscape paintings, so I took a huge risk and decided to develop my art in another direction. So I actually did my degree at university and now currently doing honours, and I want to take what I'm doing now further. I want to go and do a PhD, that's next year, which I'm aiming for. The reason I chose to do animals, I'm a vegan and I've been a vegan now for about 3 years, and the commitments come about through my art and through the research that I've done. I've always been very concerned about animals, but now realising some of the things behind it, the issues, I've decided to take that commitment further in my lifestyle and also into my art as well. Wow. Presented today I have 3 paintings that have behind the issues, as we can see, they are representations of cows.
Well, let's have a look.
Okay. Yes. This is basically the same cow, but what I'm trying to do here is to create a sense of empathy or recognition that we might be able to empathise with these animals. The common way of seeing these animals, cows, is in bits and pieces, as fragments, and unfortunately the pieces that most people are familiar with is when they go to the butcher they'll see a piece of steak and it's something they don't think of seeing the whole animal. With my upbringing, I was brought up on a farm and I regret a lot of the time now thinking where the cows, what their destiny was, but as a child I had a lot of childhood innocence and it was the here and now for me as well as for the animals, and I enjoyed the empathy of being with the animals and their closeness, but it also gave me an awareness of what it was like to be with animals, in the company of animals. So by painting the animals as whole forms, something that's recognisable, I've tried to give across the sense that this isn't about bits and pieces, but animals are sentient living beings who have got the same sorts of feelings that we do. They love their company of other animals, they love to have freedom, they love to have the simple things that you like, whether it's enjoying the sunshine on their back and things like this. And this is the sort of
that why there's no background?
Yes, the background's interesting. I've done a lot of research on the background as to what I was going to do with it. The background, because of its simplicity, focuses straight back onto the cow. We don't tell a story. These paintings are not really to tell a story. They're not to tell a story of the cow sitting in the field or standing in the field or any other thing, because then us humans will always get carried away with the story and forget the cows. And what I'm doing is doing a real focus on the cows. You may notice there's the inclusion of one other thing, and that's the cow's shadow. Shadows are important to us. Shadows has actually got a long history in painting. And what we see in shadows is it gives us a sense of presence. We'd be quite lost without our own cast shadow. We take it with us wherever we go. And cows and animals also cast a shadow, and it gives them a sense of presence. So it means that we can also empathise with the fact that living creatures have shadows and we have shadows, and it makes them feel that they're really there for us. The other thing that's interesting with this work too is the textured surface. Part of this is actually a philosophy background. People may be aware of a philosopher called Emmanuel Levinas. Emmanuel Levinas, he didn't have any concern about animals as such. He's what they call a post-humanist. His thinking was about the conditions in humans, the ethical conditions in humans. And I've read his writings and I'm quite interested in one notion that he puts across. Well, he actually puts 2 that is very, very relevant to animal ethics. One is the idea of seeing the face. If we see the face of a person, we think straight away, we start moving in that feeling of, oh, they like me. It must be that you start empathising with the person, you start feeling like they might be feeling. If you take away a face, we're left with the body, and then we start fragmenting the body, and for cows, we know where that leads us to, is back to the butchers and bits and pieces again. By presenting the cows with their face, I'm thinking about Levinas and how he says about the face of a person will make us move ethically closer. We'll become more compassionate, sincere and considerate. And hopefully by presenting the face of a cow, we feel that we're going to come closer ethically, thinking about. We start getting in the space of thinking about the animal. The second thing Emmanuel Levinas talks about is the notion of the caress, the touch. If we touch another person, we feel like we have a connecting point. And he talks about that being very important for our ethical thinking of humans. Now, I like to take that notion and move it into animals. The idea of touch and caress will make us feel that we're moving closer towards the animals. We're empathising, we start to sympathise with them. So my paintings are very, very textured. You can probably see it.
Can I touch them?
Yes, you may
I can
touch.
Oh, thank you.
This is an interesting question too. People in all my series of paintings, another series also talks about the same thing. But many people actually ask, may I touch your paintings? Now, I make them sure that they're quite durable. And this is what happens. People do come and touch. But the sensation, this is why I chose painting too, which is a very important medium, because I could go out and photograph all these lovely cows, but I haven't got something that I can use as a medium, as a metaphor, as a way of coming in. Painting's a way of coming in to talk about the animal. And I'm very interested about talking about painting as a vehicle for animal welfare issues. And this is where I'm going to take this question further in my postgraduate, and I'm very interested in researching this area, but limited research done within the visual arts and limited research done with in animal advocate groups who don't recognise visual arts as being a possible medium to use to convey animal welfare issues.
That's true.
So this is visual arts interesting too, that it's always been a problematic issue because animal welfare issues are seen as something that's quite didactic and dictatorial, and visual arts is always seen as something conceptual, something that's open reading, something that is innovative, so they don't really mesh. And that's why visual arts institutions won't readily take the idea or the concept on. They're actually quite prejudiced against the concept. So I want to change that prejudice and say, look, visual arts can be used as a valid discourse for animal welfare issues.
Wow, thank you. I'm learning a lot today. Well, we're going to continue with Wendy Jane at a later date. Well, good luck with your PhD.
Thank you very much, Margaret.
That's fine. I'm Margaret Turner for Veggie Vision in Adelaide.